We're recording. All right. Welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Ellie Hutchinson. I'm a staff minister at OCSL. My pronouns are she and they, and I will be your host tonight at our Wednesday night Oasis service. Oasis is a place where we come together as a community to be spiritually refreshed midweek. Most Wednesday night services build on the theme of the previous Sunday, sharing science of mind principles and practices with the intention that these gatherings be informal and interactive and intimate. Our annual theme in CSL for 2024 is A Grand Rising, and our monthly theme for October is Power to the People. Last Sunday, Reverend Deb Hammond introduced ideas inspired by this week's theme, which is our personal power. And tonight, our speaker will continue the exploration of this same topic. If you're new to our community or watching our recording for the first time, please visit our website at oaklandcsl.org. Click on the I'm New icon and look at the lower left-hand corner of that page where you can submit your email address. Once you do, you'll begin to get our weekly newsletter, The Village News. It has all the information about what's happening at our center in the coming weeks. Before we get started with the talk, please mute your microphone if you're not already muted. That will improve the quality of the recording and tonight's transmission, and you can leave your camera on if you like. And finally, please stay tuned through the end of the service to hear several important announcements. Our speaker tonight is Sabrina Bolus. Sabrina has been involved with religious science since 2019. She graduated from the San Francisco Theological Seminary in 2014 and trained as a chaplain. Currently, she works for the Lighthouse for the Blind and Visually Impaired as an adult program specialist. So thank you in advance, Sabrina, for being our speaker tonight. As we always do at the center, we'll open with prayer. So will you do the honors tonight, Sabrina, or someone else?
I'm so grateful that someone else, Reverend Akia, has agreed to do the prayer. Thank you so much.
So now we have Reverend Ikea Param.
Everybody take a deep breath and just appreciate that God is breathing you. God, who is all powerful, all knowing, present everywhere. We have a saying, God is all there is. And I give thanks for this gathering, knowing that for each of us, God is the power within, expressing as the best in each of us every day. I give thanks for it, and I know this sharing this evening by Sabrina Bolus will uplift us, strengthen us, and give us the insight to move forward with joy and success. I give thanks for it, and I bless every person who came and every part of the service. I give thanks, I release my word, and please join me by saying, and so it is.
And so it is. Amen.
And Sabrina.
Thank you so much for that, Reverend Akia. And Grady, thank you for that wonderful meditation that started off this evening. And good evening to everyone. Thank you for being here. This month, as we know, we're focusing on the theme, the power to the people. And today's specific topic is our personal power. And at its core, this is about recognizing that each of us has power within us, not the kind of power that comes from controlling others, but the kind of power that comes from integrity, accountability, and living in alignment with our deepest values. To help guide my reflection this evening, I drew from a few different sources. Of course, Ernest Holmes is always there, and my buddy, I call him my buddy, Michael Beckwith. But this evening, I'm going to talk about Thich Nhat Hanh, Brene Brown, and Nancy Pelosi. Thich Nhat Hanh's The Art of Power, in that he teaches that true power originates from within through the choices we make and the energy that we bring into the world. Tonight, we'll focus on two concepts from his teaching: bodhicitta and volition. Volition is the motivation, the motivating desire that shapes our lives. I'm going to start with bodhicitta. This was a new one for me, and this is the heart of compassion. He describes bodhicitta as the mind of love. Bodhicitta is the desire to awaken, to live with compassion and understanding for ourselves and others. It's the foundation of personal power because it helps us align our actions with love and integrity. In a world where power is often seen as control, bodhicitta reminds us that true power comes from love. When I act from a place of love and compassion, I'm expressing the highest form of personal power. I loved how Thich Nhat Hanh described that. We're using our energy to create happiness, to heal, and to bring people together. This is the power to the people that truly, truly transform. And the volition, which is the important part, the energy of it all, this is the motivating desires that drives our lives. Thich Nhat Hanh teaches that understanding is the big word. Understanding our volition is key to understanding how we use our personal power. And volition is about what drives us, what gets me up in the morning, and what keeps me going. What is my motivating desire? And I needed that so much this month. I'm here in New York with my wonderful dad, who's 90, and I come here often, and I was supposed to be here for less than a week. Well, got a blessing. My nephew, who lives downstairs, got a job. Beautiful blessing. But that meant I needed to step in as caregiver, as direct caregiver, as we work on the home health situation here. So I'm here for a month. And the first thing that I did was got to get it done, got to get it done. And I came from with a lot of fear. Like, I can't get this wrong. I got to get this right. And that's all I kept thinking. And fortunately, I had to work on this presentation, and I got introduced to bodhicitta, as well as making sure, reminding me that my power comes from love. And once I just switched that into, I'm here to love Dad, things got easier. I started breathing a lot easier. But here's the important part. Not all desires lead to happiness. Some desires are based on fear and control and need external validation. And so I was like calling my brother, I need this, and asking my nephew, I need that. That is when I was feeling the pain body the most. I would feel the anxiety. I would feel the depression. I would feel like a failure. But every time I went within and looked at, I am here to love Dad, things started falling into place. For example, something that's supposed to take place, they told me would take 30 days. While I was here, and these are assessments folks have to take. They come into your home to tell you how much time you're going to get for home health and stuff like that. This is a huge thing. And they were saying it's going to take 30 days. So it's like, okay, I'll be here for the month. I'll leave. I'll come back. It all started happening while I was here. So not one assessment, not two. I got the call right before coming on here that I'm going to have the third, which is next to the final assessment, happening while I'm here this month. So coming from a place of bodhicitta, coming from a place of love, It really took me to what Thich Nhat Hanh says, towards peace, fulfillment, and happiness. The challenge is to reflect on my motivating desires, says Thich Nhat Hanh, and to ask myself, are my desires coming from love or are they coming from fear? Do they align with my values or are they leading me away from my truth? When I align with my own desires with love and power, power becomes clean power and life sustaining. A lot of what's happening in my life, the changes that are and challenges that are happening at the same time. So right before I left for this trip, I got a promotion. That's that prosperity book, everybody. I got a promotion. And in that promotion, they said, you can have this promotion, but you got to now manage people. I haven't managed people in 20 years. And if anyone has managed people, it's not exactly the gift. It could, because people have lives and they become responsible for them. And this brings me to Brene Brown, because you might have heard me talk about in my job. I took this job because I had a manager, the person who hired me. When he interviewed me, he said, you will learn this job in your own style, in the way you learn. And as soon as he said that, I just got a sense, a feeling within, this is the job I want, and this is the job I took. Well, a year later, he got a boss that said, we're going to use this book, Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. I was like, what? What? Did somebody say Brene Brown in my workplace? Did you just say to me that the woman who wrote the book, The Perfection of Imperfection, we're going to lead from that space? And that just reminds me of how great God is. That just reminds me that when I breathe into these things, I'll get more of what I vision. And so in her book, Brene Brown redefines power in a way that challenges traditional notions. She reminds us that power is not about having leverage over others. It's about the ability to make a difference and achieve a purpose. A purpose. Brene Brown says, and I quote, we all have power. What matters is whether we're using our power to lead ourselves and others to greatness or to diminish people and push them down. I was up for this promotion a year ago. I didn't take it because I didn't want to manage someone. I didn't. I needed that year to grow. And I'm so grateful. Back then, I was like pissed. I was like, what do you mean I can't have my promotion now? I was really angry. If I just stay still and know, like Dorothy would teach me over and over, if I just stay still and know, things come out the way that they're supposed to come out. So let's explore this idea of power further. Brown talks a little bit about 3 key forms of power, and I love this. It's the power with, the power to, and the power within. These types of power are all about connection, collaboration, and empowerment, both of ourselves and of the people around us. So the power with, this is through collaboration. And on this ideal, we come together when we're stronger than when we act alone. In this model, power is not something to be hoarded by a few people. Instead, it's something to be shared and expanded by all of us. This kind of power recognizes that each of us have unique strengths and insights. And when we combine them, we can achieve things we couldn't on our own. Brene Brown emphasizes that leadership isn't about knowing all the answers. And I was really grateful for that because I don't have all the answers to share with the team at times. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. Real leadership is about creating an environment where people feel safe enough to share their ideas, speak up, and contribute. It's about being courageous enough to be vulnerable, to admit that I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. Power with thrives when we foster trust and open communication. It grows when leaders have the courage to admit their mistakes and invite others into the process of finding solutions. Imagine a team, and I love this, where everyone's voice is heard, where ideas are shared freely, and where the collective goal is more important than any one individual's ambition. That's power wit. It's a power that lifts others up and brings people together to achieve a common purpose. Oh, I wish we could use that more in this world. I wish we would use that more. Then there's the power too. And this is the power to achieve a purpose, to take action, and to make a difference. It's about the ability to create change, not just for myself, but for others as well. Power too is the type of power that comes from empowering others. I can get power from empowering others. What? It's about giving people the tools and the resources and support that they need to realize their own potential. And it makes me step back and say, that's the kind of leader I want to be. That's the kind of manager I want to be. As leaders, as managers, as people, we often think our job is to fix things for other people. I'm going to come fix what's going on here with Dad. I'm going to fix what's going on at the job. But Brene Brown challenges us to shift our mindset. Instead of stepping in to, I'm going to save the day, true leaders help others develop the skills and the confidence to solve problems on their own. Leadership is about creating leaders. It's about using our powers to build others up and help them discover their own capacity for greatness. And that's the kind of support that I felt I was receiving at my job these past 2.5 years. And it's the kind of support I feel like I get here at LCSL. When we embrace power too, we're not focused on controlling the outcome. Instead, we're focused on enabling others to succeed in ways that are meaningful to them. Whether I'm a manager, or if I'm a teacher, or I'm a doggy parent, or a friend, or the power too means creating opportunities for growth and providing support while allowing others the freedom to learn and make mistakes. I want to repeat that, allowing others the freedom to learn and make mistakes. And that's a beautiful grace that I feel that I've been given over and over again. And I want to give that back to other people. Now, the next one, the power within, that's my favorite. And this is the one that every day I get to work on with Dr. Dan, and Monday through Friday, I get to work on all of these, but Dr. Dan really feeds this one for me, because Monday through Friday, it gives me a spiritual practice to be in community with others and talk about this power, this strength and resilience that is within me. This is perhaps the most important form of power because it's the foundation on which all the other forms rest. This is what Brene Brown tells us. Power within is about internal strength. It's about resilience, self-awareness, and knowing your own worth. Self-awareness and knowing your own worth. I spend a lot of time on that, building that. And I get to do that in a community. When we cultivate this power within, we are grounded in who we are, which enables us to lead with integrity and courage. Brene Brown is known for her work on vulnerability. And she argues that vulnerability is not a weakness. but rather a source of strength. Vulnerability allows us to show up fully and authentically without hiding behind masks or perfection or pretending that we have to have it all together. When we are vulnerable, we create space for real connection. And connection, as Renee reminds us, is the key to true power. Power within is about trusting myself, trusting my instincts, trusting that my values and my ability to navigate uncertainty will prevail. It's about aligning my actions with my values and showing up as my true self, even when it's uncomfortable. And that was the hurdle that I had to get over, even when it's uncomfortable. When I cultivate my power within, I become more resilient in the face of challenges. And I'm able to lead from a place of strength rather than fear. And I think that's so important, especially when working with others. I had to shift my understanding of power because power is a powerful word. And I watch a lot of people use power to do a lot of things that, you know, make me sad, actually. So, what happens when we shift our understanding of power from control, and domination to connection, empowerment, and vulnerability? We create environments where people can thrive, where innovation flourishes, and where relationships are strong. We become leaders who inspire trust, foster collaboration, and cultivate resilience not only in ourselves, but in those around us. And that's what I find beautiful. In the end, power isn't about a title or a position. It's not about exerting influence over others. Power is about connection. It's about using our influence to make a difference in the lives of others. It's about empowering people to step into their own strength and potential. This excites me because I have people doing this for me, and I love them for that. As Brene Brown teaches us, true power comes from the courage to be vulnerable, the willingness to collaborate, and the commitment to empower others. When we embrace this new definition of power, we can lead in ways that are more compassionate, more effective, and more transformative. All of this must include the understanding of my volition, as Thich Nhat Hanh says. What is my motivational desire in each situation? Lastly, I want to say, in all this great abundance, I got invited through my job to attend Nancy Pelosi's Ultimate Woman Conference in San Francisco last month. It was a luncheon. I could not believe it. There she was, and I was in the front row, and she got up and she started talking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know how much I love this woman. And then the beauty of it all was she had 16 other women from battleground states on stage talking about the seats they're going to win, the seats they're going to take or they're going to keep. And then each got up, I'm so and so, and I'm from the great state of this, that, and the other. You know what it reminded me of at first? It reminded me of when I was a little girl and I watched the pageants. I'm Sabrina. I'm from the great state of New York, and I'm going to save the world. I used to pretend with my sash while sitting with my mother. These women, they were saving the world. What a different world we get into. They were actually saving the world. And it just excited me to see them all different shades, all different cultures. It was so beautiful. And then at the end of the lunch, we were leaving, and they were handing out Nancy Pelosi's book, oddly titled The Art of Power, just like Thich Nhat Hanh's book. And so I want to play for you a little snippet of the audible preview of Nancy Pelosi's book. So just give me a second as I look at my screen and try to figure out how to do this in real life. Okay.
This is Audible.
Can you hear?
Simon & Schuster Audio presents The Art of Power. My Story as America's First Woman Speaker of the House by Nancy Pelosi. Read by the author.
To Paul, aka Daddy, aka Pop, a wonderful husband, father, and grandfather. Preface. Know Your Why. In November 2006, after the Democrats won the majority in the House of Representatives, I was nominated by my colleagues to be Speaker. As I approached the podium to accept the honor, our new caucus chair, Rahm Emanuel, whispered in my ear, "Your parents would be so proud." I was taken aback by the comment. Why would my parents be proud? They did not raise me to be Speaker. They raised me to be holy. After having 6 sons, my mother wanted me to be a nun. Now you're talking proud. People have asked me what role my faith has played in my political life. While I believe, of course, in the separation of church and state, I do believe that the values of my faith have informed my priorities. For example, my commitment to human rights springs from my belief that, as John Lewis always used to say, there's a spark of divinity in every person that needs to be respected. When I was a little girl and people would ask, "What is your favorite word?" I would always say, "the Word." It is a term used for Christ, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. John 1:14. Christ participating in our humanity enabled us to participate in his divinity, hence the spark. A Hebrew scholar, I've been told, in the 3rd century, said that because of the spark of divinity that we all have, hundreds of angels precede us when we walk. My deep commitment to honoring the spark of divinity in every person is why I turned to public service.
So there is more to that, of course, but I wanted you to hear what Nancy Pelosi's motivating desire was, as she describes it in her own words about why she does what she does. So I want to close by just, if I don't give an Ernest Holmes quote, I feel like I haven't done my job completely. So let me bring Ernest into the fold and say the power that you have within you is the same power that governs everything in the universe. There is no power outside you that is greater than the power within you. So the question I have is, what is one way that you can align your desires with love and values to strengthen your own personal power? Or just anything you want to comment on or ask questions about and talk about. I'm going to turn this back over to you, Reverend Alley, to do what you and Peter do.
Okay. So I invite you all to turn your cameras on if you'd like to. And if you want to ask a question or make a comment, just find the little hand sign on your phone, or if you have trouble with that, wave, and Peter or I will try to notice. So who would like to ask a question or make a comment? I see Alice.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks, Sabrina. I loved your speech, but I didn't start taking notes soon enough. What what was the main Brene Brown book that you were referring to that had the three powers and everything?
That is called Dare to Leave. Lead.
Dare-
Lead. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lead. Okay, yeah. Now I've written it down. Thank you.
Okay. It's a great book.
Okay, thank you.
Who else? See Andrea.
Right here. I think dang that she starts us on there.
Hi,
This is,
Sabrina.
Andrea.
this is, oh, she's, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Andrea was first, and then you, Dorothy.
Sure, sure.
Andrea, are you unmuted? Are you ready?
I am. I play college soccer at North Central College. Go
Um,
Andrea,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
you're
Okay.
on.
All right. Well, Sabrina, gosh, you said so much, and I just really appreciate your thoughtfulness and your divine spark, which brought those three thinkers together and helped with your volition. uh, and I I usually have something sort of to say, but the only thing is that I'm just you know I'm just not it's interesting to look at the the concept of love as power.
Mm.
Um so that's all I that's all I have.
And that's a good one. That is a good one because it was something that I had to work on for myself. And just making that transformation from fear and all that other stuff that causes the power that I always thought of the meaning of the word, and just looking at the power of love and how it really made positive changes in my life and watching that. So I understand that.
Yeah, and if I can just say one more thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of every time there's a war, more people are educated to the lessons of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of trauma in our world. And I think it's hard. I mean, it is, and it isn't hard for people who've experienced trauma to get to love. There's a lot of, kind of just figuring things out and integrating things. And so I guess in leading through love, uh, it's important to really honor the fact that we live in a world that is very traumatized.
That is very true. One of the things that I had to learn how to trust again. Like if I go into the work environment, I had to learn how to trust my leaders there. And like I said, I found the right boss where I was put into a place where I can learn. And I crawled. I didn't go running into the trust. I crawled.
Wow.
And and I'm getting there every day. And it's working on my spiritual practice that really helps me stay grounded and be able to do that work. So I'm very grateful for that. And so I do understand, trauma comes, it doesn't, yes, we look at the world and war, but there's also trauma in the workplace, there's trauma in spiritual communities, there's all these traumas that have moved into my life. And so I crawl, but I'm moving ahead. So thank you for sharing that. It is sometimes a process.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all that you did. Wonderful presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and for sharing just now. Like Brene Brown says, being vulnerable is what helps. So thank you.
So I see Lula's hand, but I think Dorothy was before that. Did you have something, Dorothy? You're muted, sweetie. Dorothy, you're muted.
Thank you, Ellie. I just wanted to say thank you, Sabrina. And one of the things that came to me was in the concept of love, we also have to begin to forgive. And when we forgive, we open up the process of love. We allow love to come in. And I just want to thank you for your talk today. And I also would like to know is how do we get to see the whole thing of Nancy Pelosi? I'd like to hear her whole process there.
Mhm. Yeah, well, if there's time, I could play the rest of the clip, but it's only going to be 4 minutes. However, her book is on Audible if you want to listen to her read her entire book. And it's available. I feel like she should like pay me for her advertising. But her book is available on Amazon, hard copy, Audible, and Kindle.
Okay. Thank you,
Yes.
dear. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And it wasn't a book that I would have picked up on my own. It was the title that, they gave it to me, but then I was reading and I noticed it had the same title as Thich Nhat Hanh.
Hmm.
And so when I listened to that introduction part, I said, "Oh yeah." And then I bought the book. I haven't read it in its entirety yet, but I can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you. And thank you for talking about forgiveness. That is a big part of it.
Lula, go ahead.
I really identified with finding your why. A couple of the beginning of September, I went back east to visit my sister, who has stage 4 breast cancer, and the treatment is going well, but some of her behavior was not conducive to her treatment. So so I was going back there to straighten her out. And then when I got there, all of that just fell by the wayside because I saw her and she was doing the very best she could. And so my thing was just there to support her and let her know that I cared about her and to encourage her. And that was so much better than I'm going to show some big, it just all fell away. It identifying your why really, really makes things easier. Because I said I have, and then when I thought about it, my brother and I went. And then when I went back to the hotel room, it just came to me because when I was 50, I declared that I had learned all I was going to ever learn from shame and blame.
Yes.
And so I said, well, why are you? And then it came to me, well, why were you trying to do that to your sister? So really identifying your why really makes everything a lot better and a lot easier. And things just fall, it just felt so much better. The feeling nature of it, it just feels better. I'm complete.
Thank you. That's a wonderful example of transitioning from I'm going to fix it, so I'm going to support. And that's exactly what Brene talks about. And that shift, and I was listening to Regina ask me last week, what did joy feel like? That shift I can describe as feeling a calmness, a peace. And so thank you so much for sharing that, Lula. Thank you. Reverend Allie.
I'm going to call on myself. I was thinking about what Andrea said about the connection between power and love. And I feel like I had a huge lesson in that in my practice with my clients. I do a lot of couples work. And for a long time, I'm trying to do the stuff that therapists usually do. Let's encourage them to listen to each other and be empathetic and all this stuff. And all of a sudden I realized they are coming to me because they are stuck in this power struggle. They're both feeling totally defensive, like their psychological survival's on the line. There's no way they're gonna be empathetic and calm in the middle of that. So I started working with the power dynamic because it really is a power struggle they were in. And I thought, okay, well, I'll try to get them out of that, and then we can, work on communication and empathy and listening. And what I found was that as soon as I get them out of that power struggle, it was like they were on their third date. They were just like all over each other on the couch, and they were listening and they were sweet. And I thought, oh, it's not about finding love. It's about when you get that other stuff out of the way, it's there. So that's been a great lesson in my life as well.
Yeah,
So,
I love that. Thank you for sharing. That reminds me of the part where she's talking about the collaboration. It's not me or you, it's what we do together in that.
yeah, it's
So
like
that was perfect.
when you feel your own power from within, when you can set boundaries and you feel safe, then you can be really empathetic with other people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then just and knowing what that end goal is, which was
yeah,
really beautiful. Thank you.
yeah. Who else?
Grady.
Yes, I wish there were this fantastic, wonderful. Thank you, Sabrina. I wish was a way to introduce this at earlier levels, like in school and so forth, because a lot of us spend a lot of our lives trying to get out of the victim habits that have been introduced to us, because as a little person, you don't have much power in terms of getting anything done or learning anything other than what people teach you. And so um, I would like to see this introduced at a level that children could get it sooner and incorporate it into their lives and their own personal power. So anyway, that I'm complete.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, that's really interesting that you say that one of the organizations or programs I did was ACA, Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families. And I taught that for almost 7 years. And I remember someone asking, why didn't they teach this in school, like junior high school when they were younger? Because these are such great lessons to learn that we have this inner power. I didn't learn it until I was in my 50s and late 50s, and I'm now in my early 60s. So it's new to me, and I'm just soaking it all up. I'm just like a sponge. Give me more, give me more, give me more. And I do get more with my daily spiritual practice. And one of Thich Nhat Hanh had said that there are five um, five things for inner power. And the first one was faith. The other one was diligence. And I forgot I'm sorry, what the other ones were, but faith, that was the one that I remembered the most, was the faith.
Yeah.
Mhm. And the diligence, of course, is the practice. Oh, the other one was mindfulness. They're all coming to me now. They're just swimming in my head.
Hmm. Who else? I think everybody's lost in thought about it. Power is an interesting thing. It's like we don't even want to talk about it usually
Mhm.
because we only think of the bad side of it.
Yeah, the scary side.
Alice.
Sabrina, thank you so much. Thank you so much. When you started to share Thich Nhat Hanh, I love Thich Nhat Hanh. And, you know, you shared so much. There's so much. I'm just filled with so many ideas and so much inspiration from what you shared. But Thich Nhat Hanh, and then Brene Brown, and then Nancy Pelosi. Like fabulous. And it made me think about what a woman told me one time. And she said, you know, sometimes women can't do things for ourselves, but we'll do them for our children. We'll do them for love. And that's what started to go through my mind, is really the power of love. And it's not about strong arming it. It's about opening your heart and being open and vulnerable and being willing to take a risk. And I've been learning a lot lately about taking risks. So I really appreciated too what you said about you allowed yourself to crawl. You said, I crawled on my way to learning how to trust my new boss, right? And that you gave yourself all the time you needed. And
Yeah.
sometimes I rush myself too much. So it was another moment of learning from you, just reminding myself, take all the time you need.
Yeah.
And one of the most powerful things, you said a lot of really powerful things tonight, but it was about, it's leaving my memory bank right now, but it was the power of faith. The power of faith. It's just like it says in the Bible, it moves mountains. So thank you so much, Sabrina.
Thank
I
you.
could just feel all your love and all the work that you did to deliver this talk for us. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Alice. And it reminds me, part of it is, the talk that you gave when you were talking about mindfulness and meditation and just being aware. It's being aware. And it's that awareness that you talked about, which really helps me recognize the power within me. When I can just be still and just be aware of that power. So this is what I mean when it's like, I don't have to have all the answers, because you shared with me, you're helping me grow as well. So
beautiful, isn't it?
It is. There's nothing more beautiful. I mean, I enjoy it. I love it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I saw Reverend Akia have her hand up. Are you still?
Oh, thank you. I found the title of the book. I'll put it in the chat. The title of the prayer, I mean. It's called, The Prayer of Faith. That's written by Hannah Moore Cohouse with Myrtle Fillmore. So if you didn't know it was a unity prayer, if you know who wrote it, you get the idea.
Yeah.
I just feel that the thoughts there are the core of inner power. Knowing that God is my help in every need. I mean, that to me, that's like personal power rooted, indestructible, um, and always available to be remembered in case you forget, which we all forget, or I do anyway. So I got a message a few days ago that somebody I had worked with in Vallejo had died rather suddenly. And she was such a light. And so it just reminds me once again that each of us in our fullness as we are sources of power. And we can't be replaced, Each one of us is unique and cannot be replaced. So thank you so much, Sabrina. It was such an amazing talk. And I look forward to checking out Nancy Pelosi's book. Yeah.
Tell her I sent you.
Yeah. You ought to get a kickback. Anyway, thanks so much. Fabulous talk. So many good ideas.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I'm so sorry for your loss. And I am grateful that you had that light in your life.
I saw somebody unmuted. Lula, did you want to say something?
Oh, no, I was just, I went and got the prayer, the information.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And that prayer came from Grady's meditation, in case anyone missed it. She gave a beautiful meditation at 6:30.
Oh, okay.
So we're at the end of the discussion time. So let's give Sabrina a little love.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. I love the creativity of the synthesis of those three people because they're all in different ways talking about power within, right?
Thank you.
That
All right, thank you very much.
quote by Ernest Holmes was a perfect finale.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so let's find out what's going on at OCSL. This Sunday, October 20th, Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman will be speaking on Power Together. The meditation starts at 10, followed by the service at 10:30. On Wednesday, October 23rd, at our next midweek oasis, join Nancy Hester and Ron Marshall, religious science practitioner, for a deeper conversation on the topic Power Together. The meditation is at 6:30 and the service is at 7 on Zoom. Go to oaklandcsl.org and click services for the Zoom link. And you may want to join our 2024 Community Spiritual Practice, which is the Abundance Book, 40-Day Prosperity Plan by John Randolph Price. Today, we're on the 10th day of the program using the 10th affirmation, and you can just follow along in the order that the affirmations appear. The Women's Spiritual Empowerment Group continues with its next gathering this Sunday, October 20th. So please sign up on the groups page at oaklandcsl.org. Our Halloween Costume Sunday is October 27th. Yes, we are dressing in costume for the Sunday service. Bring a potluck for our celebration after the service, which will feature a DJ and dancing and a fun time together in costume, celebrating life and the season. Reverend Sunshine would love for everyone to participate. So join us also for a prayerful and contemplative weekend the next weekend. We're starting with an evening of blessings on Friday, November 1st from 6:30 to 8:30. In a sacred candlelight atmosphere, you can visit various practitioners for your choice of prayers. And if you haven't done it before, it's a really beautiful experience. Before they asked people to bring socks, they didn't mention it this time. I know they're trying to keep the noise down. Alice is saying no. Come as you are. So, and then Saturday, November 2nd, please join us from 4 to 5:30 for the Sound Waves of Love, a sound experience concert, enjoying a contemplative space filled with the sacred sounds of gongs and percussion instruments and harp and singing bowls. These two events will anchor us through this election season and beyond. Go to oaklandcsl.org and the events page to purchase tickets for the sound concert. Those who are deaf and hard of hearing are also welcome. Speaking of the election, my election intention 100 days of mindful practice continues its July 28th through November 4th run. Tune out fear, tune in vision, with 10 somatic healing principles based on the book What It Takes to Heal by Prentice Hemphill. So all you have to do is text join to the number that I think is on the screen. And if you can't see it, it is 47050 to receive daily inspirational phone or voicemail messages. And if you want to catch up and listen to some of the old messages, they're on the website at, I think it's electionintention.com. Our chair dedication campaign has begun, so you can create your own plate inscription that will go on the back of a chair in our sanctuary or social hall. There are 4 levels from $50 to $500, bronze up to platinum with 2 to 5 lines. You can include yourself, friends, family, ancestors, an organization, whatever you'd like in the dedication. And you can also share lines with someone if you'd like to reduce the cost. So go to the oakland.org events page to place your order. Our online silent auction is also going on from October 4th to the 29th. Please visit oaklandcsl.org events page for more information, to see the great items that have been donated, and to put in your bids. Our nonprofit partner for October is A Safe Place. Its mission is to decrease domestic violence by providing victims, survivors, and their children with a safe shelter and resources to break the cycle of violence through outreach and education to at-risk populations and diverse communities. A Safe Place protects thousands of families and individuals, often in the middle of the night when they are terrified and alone. Visit asafeplace.org for more information. The Oakland Center Nonprofit Partners Program is gearing up for next year. It provides a platform to support and introduce members to 12 nonprofit organizations each year. Groups are selected whose values and vision are in alignment with those of the Oakland Center. Each month, the center highlights a different nonprofit by featuring it in our printed and electronic materials, providing a table in the courtyard for materials and conversation, and sharing information about the group during services. Applications for the 2025 program are open and they're due by October 27th. To learn more and obtain an application, please visit oaklandcsl.org, select About Us, and scroll down to Nonprofit Partners. Registration will be open soon for a workshop led by Reverend Mitch Austin, Empowered Communication for Spiritual People. So you can learn more skills for effective communication in these critical times, and it will be on Sunday, November 10th from 1 to 3:30 p.m. Mark your calendars. The Spirit Treasure Bookstore theme for October is this theme, Power to the People. And in the remainder of this month, they are celebrating Day of the Dead, which coincides with Halloween. So you can also visit csl.org to see what's happening within our larger Centers for Spiritual Living global organization. Please visit our website at oaklandcsl.org, sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Village News. Remember to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and when you're there, like and subscribe, because that gets the word out more easily. If you look at our slide that's showing now, you will see our contact team, folks that may be able to help you with various things, from our senior minister to Ministry of Prayer, facilities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in that spirit of gratitude, we would like to transition to our conscious giving time. Conscious giving is a celebration. It's an expression of gratitude. It's a spiritual practice. It's a way to keep the lights on and the zooming. It's a way to put our spiritual intentions into action. In giving, we celebrate our community. We express gratitude for all the folks who give their time, talent, and treasure to sustain it. We also acknowledge our place in that flow of universal power that Sabrina was talking about, in that flow of abundance. And we put our intentions for greater experiences of power and abundance into action. So in that spirit, please follow along as I read the giving affirmation. If you're muted, feel free to read out loud. Joyously I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. And so it is. And so again, in the spirit of abundance, we'd like to thank all the people that contributed to tonight's Wednesday Oasis, who offered their time, talent, treasure, presence. Our speaker, Sabrina Bolus, thank you for a wonderful talk.
Yes.
Inspiring. Our meditator, and the person did our opening prayer. That would be Grady and Reverend Ikea. And Dorothy, who's about to do our closing prayer. We thank Reverend Ikea for being present. We'd also always like to acknowledge the ministers who are here. We want to thank our tech team, Peter Gum, Alice Herndon, and Alice Knutson. And
Yes.
behind the scenes, our tech team lead, Peggy Cotton, and our administrative coordinator who prepared all those nice slides. and the announcements, Steve Carter, and finally, all
Yes.
of you who offered your presence and made tonight's Oasis service what it was. Perfect. So now I'd like to transition to Dorothy Mendez, who is an original. Let me see if I can get this
And
out.
we want to
Religious-
thank you too, Reverend Alley, for hosting this wonderful Wednesday night service. Let's give Reverend Alley a hand too, okay?
Thank you.
Yes.
And now I'm
Yes,
turning over
yes,
to Dorothy Mendez, who is a religious science practitioner emerita.
yes.
I got it right this time.
Okay. One of the things I wanted to clear was we have been blessed, the Ministry of Prayer had been blessed with Mr. Herbert McMurray had donated about 3 dozen pairs of socks. So if you don't have your socks, we have them there for you, brand new socks. So he has supported this Ministry of Prayer, I believe, for the last 10 years. He has just been an awesome, awesome leader with us. And I just want to know, if you forget your socks, that's okay. All right, we got socks for you.
You're covered, literally and figuratively.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let us all take one collective deep breath together as we give great thanks for this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday night service. Giving thanks for our beloved speaker, Sabrina Bolus, and knowing that God has just blessed each and every one of us who are here today. Knowing that we go forth grounded in the love and the light of God, knowing that we are powerful in ways that we could not have possibly imagined. And I am knowing for each and every one of us that we take away something special that enhances our lives and enhances the lives of the people that we come in contact with. So I am blessing everyone who had anything to do with this service today, making it whole, perfect, and complete. And if you agree with me, please join me in saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
So it is. All right. If y'all want to turn your camera